Hey, this week I'm going to turn Chun-Li that I opened a couple weeks ago into Karai from the IDW comics, and let's get to it. So first I dip her in some recently boiled water and let her soak in there for a minute or so, and it softens the plastic and loosens up the head so I can take that off easy and cut what I want to cut easily, or more easily, and able to pull off her wristbands. Then I soaked her head a little more to get it hotter so I can just use my knife to cut off her buns, on her hair, and then just kind of shave that down. I'm going to build up new hair out of Milliput. So I have a black acrylic primer mixed with a black acrylic paint, about 50-50, and that just helps thicken it up a bit because it's an airbrush paint by Vallejo, the primer. And I'm covering her shirt, her pants, and her boots because that's how Karai has it. I started with Chun-Li, and when I got her the Street Fighter pack, the reason I grabbed that one was mainly because I thought she'd make a dope Karai. I've been sanding her hair because it'll make the Milliput adhere better. I put some parchment paper with a little bit of masking tape to cover her face so that the hair doesn't stick to her like cheeks and stuff, and I can pull it out later. Then I put it on, I put a little bit at a time, and then use my carving tool to just make lines in the hair, and I have to keep wetting it to make a nice line. And then I add a couple extra strands of hair, just kind of wild, going wherever they want to go, and I'm trying to get a little division in the strands at the front there. Now I have some extra Milliput. I'm going to make, is it a scabbard or just a sheath for a sword? So I put some water to make it stick a little less in there. I'm going to pull the sword out later. So what I did, I let it dry for about an hour and a half till it was dry on the outside and then still soft on the inside. Then I cut a slit that I then took the sword out, and then I sanded it, and now I'm filling the gap where I put the slit and a couple little bumps with spackling, and I can smooth that over with some water on my finger, and the spackling only takes like 15 minutes to dry, and you can sand it. Now I'm painting the hair black, just using the same black primer mix, and then I start to pull off the pieces of tape and parchment paper. There was a piece of tape stuck. I tried to get it with the tweezers, but it left a little black spot, but I liked it because it just looks like a little birthmark, and it was just a perfect dot, so I left it. Then when I was painting the first coat on Chun-Li, or Karai, she was still dripping water, and so I let that dry, and then I put another coat on her. Now I'm covering everything with a clear coat of matte acrylic varnish that'll just seal everything up, and it won't get scratched or smudged while I'm working, and it won't later either. Now I'm using the pure black, not mixed, to do the hair, so it's a little bit different than the rest of the black. Then I mixed in some white to make a dark gray that's going to be for her shirt. But I didn't do the top of her shirt because I'm going to make that like armor. I had a little bit of silver to the sword, and then to her boots and to her shoulder pads, I guess we'll call them. And then gold on the guard of the sword. That's a red suede lace, and I just cut down the middle because I want a thinner strip, and I'm going to use that to attach the sword to her hip. So I just kind of glue it and wrap it around, and then attach the two ends to her hip, and that's ready. Now this is just some old red material I had. I'm going to do a wrap around her waist. So I start gluing that down with just my super glue, and that's going to cover where the sword is attached. And with a smaller piece, I'm gluing together for her neck warmer. That's what it's called, right? Or neck protection, or scarf in some photos. I thought she was done, but she was missing something. I was like, what's missing? And then I realized I forgot to do the wraps. So I have some white hockey stick tape, and then I was having a real difficult time cutting it, so I'm like, what can I find to make a tape dispenser? I have 2 candle holders, and now I need something that's a pencil sharpener in the middle, and now it's much easier to cut. But it's good to be resourceful sometimes when you're making custom action figures. Then I wrapped the tape around for wraps, and that's a wrap, kind of, but you gotta look at, well, you might want to look at these finished photos of her. So next week I'm going to be doing a Last Ronin project, and until then, remember, always keep your head up. Peace.